everybody. It's been a long time since I put a video out. It's been a busy year. I think it was last April, as a matter of fact, or the last time I was able to get a little bit of time and get some information out there about the Kubota B2601. And if you can see, I've added a little bit more to my collection since the last time we had talked. So anyway, I'll get off the tractor here. As you can see, we're in when I get off my tractor trail, I'm in very deep snow, and this little bugger here is a pretty good little workhorse. So anyway, what I ended up purchasing this spring to help me in the forestry management is Wallenstien FX40 Winch. Now I have a roughly, I would say, 5-hour skidding time on the winch right now, and I'll go over a few pros and cons with it, and I'll do a little demonstration. So what I'm using this for, I'm not hauling any or skidding any massive trees out of the bush. I am using it for cutting these ironwood out. If you can look around here, we have ironwood. Like, this is a fairly small lad, but back there's some about 8 to 12 inches and so, and they're 25 to 35 and some up to 40 feet long. And the reason why I'm cutting these, they are kind of a nuisance species, so to speak. They're really no good for any kind of lumber per se. They do make cant hook stocks and axe handles and hammer handles and stuff out of them, but for the most part there's not a big demand in the retail end of the market. So what we do is we try and get rid of as much of it as possible around the standing maple that's in here. This is a really good maple bush. If you can kind of look around through, I know there's a few here and there, but for the most part all the way through they're all a really nice, like, tapping size maple that's all through here. So if we can get rid of the ironwood, it really helps the sugar maple do well. So anyway, back to the winch. I've had a couple issues with it. I think I've got, like I say, about 5 hours or so skidding with it. The rope itself, now this works good. So you get off to the side and you give it a pull, as you'll see later on, and that engages your clutch, and it pulls your choker, your main line in. What had happened with this, it had stretched a bit, the rope inside, and there's 3 pulleys in behind this cover that this rope is wound around, and it's on a lever, and it actuates the clutch. And what happened is it got loose and it fell off the pulleys and it jammed on me. So I had to take this cover off, which is really basically simple. 4 bolts on the sides and 1 on the bottom. So 2 on each side, 1 on the bottom, 5 bolts total. You pull that off and everything is accessible. It's very simple. And I can do a video later on what's inside there if we have to. And also, when I had that apart, if you come around here, there's a oh, it's very deep here. The brake mechanism for lock and unlock. This rod goes through, and there's a lever that hits against a notched cog on the drum of your winch, and it's a set screw that holds the little lever in place, and the set screw backed off on me and it just kind of went floppy after a little bit of vibration. So it was no big deal. I think if anybody has that issue, I would probably put some blue Loctite on it. I did tighten it up back in the bush here. I didn't have any blue Loctite, but when I get out and get some supplies or whatever, I'll put some blue Loctite on that so it doesn't come loose again. But other than that, it's been working flawless. And I'll tell you, the FX40 will outpull the tractor. So what I'm saying by that is the winch will far exceed the pulling capacity of what the tractor is, and I think in any kind of traction conditions it will pull hard. So I've had some decent hitches on, so to speak, and it's worked flawless for as far as getting the stuff out. It'll drag the tractor in the bush. So if anybody's worried about the 4,000 pound capacity not being enough for their tractor, we have an L2501 here with an FX66 on it, and it's matched pretty good with it. But this really works well, I would say, with any type of B01 series, BX series, your LX series, or even your Ls. You'd have really no issue. Whatever that winch can pull behind those series of tractors, I'm sure would suffice. So, because the next one up now in Wallenstien's lineup, of course, is the FX85, and that's way too big for this, but you definitely would not need to go that size for it. One other nice thing I like about the Wallenstien winch, I purchased it from Huckabones Equipment in Cobden, Ontario, in Canada, and it's a made in Canada product as well. And I mean, I really like to purchase things that are from your area. It's not too far down the road either, as far as distance, even from where I am here in Eastern Ontario. It's probably about 4 hours or so, maybe 4.5 hours down to St. Jacobs from where I am, where these lads are, I believe, are built, or in that area. And so support for any parts or pieces, it's pretty quick to get to. So the system I like here too, also, I'll just unlock this. That's handy with the lever on the side to unlock your cable. There's 165 feet of 3/8 main line on it. It comes with one bell on the end. And how they say they never want to see you deadhead basically your ferrule on the end. So they want to see you always have a tree in it or something in it, and not to just pull off of these keyhole sliders. Now, these keyhole sliders, they impress me big time, because once you get your chain in there, these chokers, it don't come out. So I'm not sure if this is the right way to put the chokers in. But once you take her and slide that through, and it's pulling, that holds it good. You don't have to worry. I've had just regular grab hooks before on a cable, and your chain can pop out and give you a little bit of grief when you have more than one tree on. So no, these are really a fantastic deal to have on too. And compared to the other bigger models, this skid plate, it's a little bit narrower, but it does dig into ground fairly aggressively. And also, if you look, the height on the B2601, I do have the backhoe package, and the backhoe mounts are way lower than what the winch is. So when you do come through the bush and it's up and down and rolling, or stumps are in the way, you're going to hang up on the tractor before you're going to hang up on the winch. Where the FX66, which is a really good winch, it was quite a bit lower, and it would snag on stumps and rocks a lot quicker around here. So one thing I really do like about it is the height off the ground. Now, one of the other things that I'm not real struck on when I'm winching from an elevated point is if I'm low and I'm pulling from high, it really pulls the trees into the ground with this low snatch block. I hope if Wallenstien watches or sees this video that they do make one with a 40 with the snatch block up high. And I think the reason why they would do it is because on a small tractor, they wouldn't really want you pulling sideways, because you're going to flip it if you're not watching what you do if you did have it high, because they're quite a bit lighter, or made for a smaller tractor. I understand why they did it, Just sometimes it's a little bit frustrating when you're pulling your piece into the ground. When you're pulling from a higher point with the tractor, then the piece it's no problem because it's pulling it up and it's lifting the butt off the ground. So other than that, that's one thing I would like to see as an upgrade on it. But as I say, it outpulls the tractor at any given time. So and when I am running it, very seldom do I ever come off of idle with the B2601. It has more than enough power to pull whatever I put in the chokers there to come out with it. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and get the chainsaw fired up, and I'm going to see if I can find a tree to drop and give a little demonstration on how it pulls. Fun. One thing I did add was this little chainsaw holder to the side of the tractor. It does the trick well. Give me a little chainsaw wrench and my handy dandy brand new chainsaw axe, which is also made in Canada, I see on it. Grant there, a pretty good little axe. So I haven't had to pound too much with it yet, so it's been pretty shiny. Anyway, we're going to fire up the old trusty Stihl 046. You don't see these around anymore. It's one of my first pro saws I got after my 26th, I think when I was 21 years old or so. So it's been around a long time. So anyway, it's been a trusty old saw. We'll get her fired up. Now, when you're bringing your main line with you to the butt of your tree, make sure you have your bell and your keyhole sliders in your hand, because I've walked many times back to the tractor for those 3 items when they've slid down the cable back towards the tractor. So what I'm going to do here is take my, see how quick they slide back, main line, and jam her through under the butt of the ironwood. And I grab my bell. Put her through. I cut off this real ugly bugger here. But we're going to leave it. So what I'm going to do, take this fancy, come with the winch. The snow is extra deep and it's above freezing now, so it's extra packy. We're going to run her through our choker. We're going to grab a keyhole slider. We're going to stick the pokey part in there. And hope she'll all come back to the tractor. All this brush here now, it's all ironwood, so we're not worried about knocking it over. We'll try her at an idle and see if she'll pull. What I'll do, I'm going to flip my lever in, but I don't know if you can see this or not, guys, but I'm in pretty good snow here. So that's what my B2601 is doing right now. I'm going to try and pull ahead with this, but realistically what I should do is get out off. Not going to take off from here. It's going to stop sitting on the fire. I'm going to give it a little flip here because unlock my knee. Take the detail out. Running it myself along the ground. Okay, friends. Okay guys, here you can see me coming in. It's about a 200-meter skid from where I first took off with that little tractor. What I'm going to do now here is set my hitch down. I'm going to have to get off the tractor, put my PTO in, and get around to the back of that winch and take the pressure off of that main line. What we usually do is just grab that little rope. See now everything is tight. Grab that rope. The brake's not going to release on its own, still with the pressure. So come back around, grab my handy dandy rope, give it a little bit of pressure, take the pressure off the brake mechanism, let her down, unhook my bell, and unhook my choker, and get ready to push that piece of firewood up onto the big pile. Now I'm going to back up and get that on its way. I really gotta appreciate sometimes that HLA root rig grapple that's on the front of the tractor. A little bit of a struggle sometimes going through that hard frozen snow. There's about 2.5 feet on that whole landing there. It's April 3rd and she's still hanging on. But anyway, I don't want to plow it off too much or it's going to turn into mud, and I don't like skidding firewood through the mud because it's hard on my chainsaw. Anyway, we'll get that shoved up. I'd like to give a big shout out and a thank you to Chris out at Huckabones for setting me up with the right choices when I go to purchase stuff for doing this little bit of forestry management here. The root rig grapple I got with the machine a couple of years ago. I absolutely love it. It's an HLA product, and I'm super glad that he did steer me onto that FX40. It's been really good so far. No complaints whatsoever. There's always going to be a little hiccup, but a little this or a little that, but nothing that's not to be expected with a new piece of equipment when you're going to break it in. Also, thank you to Sean out there at Deaconville Country Depot for the spill products there as far as it goes for my pants. I outgrew my last pair. I don't know what happened there, but we needed a new pair of safety pants. You should always have that stuff on if you're in that deep snow with a power saw at any time, really. And the big saw boots as well. Anyway, guys, thank you very much for sticking with me. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Take care.